freedom from suffering is such a guy thing. I mean, really, and it's an old fogey thing too. I mean, who came up with this idea? It feels almost more like a marketing ploy than any sort of decent spiritual advice at all. It's like, hey, I'm the big old fancy guy. Come to me and I will teach you freedom from suffering. What about everybody else? The way that it is taught all the time, I mean, is like literally almost sociopathic. It's like they're teaching you how to be so disconnected from yourself that, I mean, you qualify to be a full-blown sociopath. Nothing bothers you. I'm free from suffering. Technically, yeah, it's true. You're awake. And so you know that your suffering is not you, and you don't fall into it in the same way. You don't get, sucked into the drama of it. But everybody suffers. Everybody feels bad. Everybody sleeps bad some night, or eats some bad food, or falls down and breaks a leg or something like that. And technically, yeah, you can be hurt, and you can be all sorts of things, and not get sucked into the ideas that it's you. And so technically, yeah, you're not suffering, but then why not teach freedom from love, freedom from happiness, because it's exactly the same thing. If you're free from everything. Like, love isn't you any more than anger is you. So I just find this to be such a unuseful teaching. It literally creates a level of dominance in spiritual teaching where people who are, well, frankly, higher status, have more money, or have a particular way of living without any money at all, like the old guys with the begging bowls used to do, like the monks used to do. They're like, I don't own anything except for my bowl. Right, and this big, huge freaking mansion that you're living in with everybody else called a monastery. So it just creates this level of dominance. Someone who is able to live this just like totally sociopathic life, where they're not really down in the trenches and engaged with everyone. We call these people the more spiritual people. What about being natural and normal and a human being? Like, look here, I got pictures of my grandkids up on the wall. I don't have the most beautiful hair. I find that it is not useful to live through life without ever displaying a negative emotion, because, and maybe, see, this is why I'm saying it's a guy thing. As a woman, you will just get totally just run over. You get turned into a doormat. I mean, maybe if you want to just, stay home and be a really good wife, or, do something like that, then you can, put on this pretense of no suffering. But literally, that's what it is. It's a pretense, and guys are better at it. Now, back again, technically, anyone who's awake is not identified with their suffering, and that's what the teaching actually means, to not be identified with it. But again, why not teach how to not be identified with happiness? Why not teach how not to be identified with joy? Because it's just exactly the same thing. They pick, they slice life in two, and here's the good feelings and here's the bad feelings. You're allowed to have the good ones, you're not allowed to have the bad ones. Those guys just weren't raising kids. So I tell you, this whole freedom from suffering is a guy thing. Just don't let it use up a whole lot of your attention. Put your attention on finding out who you are. Maybe when you find out who you are, you'll discover that you're a way better human being than I am. More power to you. We need more human beings like that. On the other hand, you might find out that you're just a regular old person like I am. If that's the case, let's get together and have a cup of tea.